Hey, I'm firearms attorney Gilbert Ambler, and we're back today because we've got to talk about what they have called assault weapons in Virginia one more time because the Virginia House just passed an assault weapons ban bill. Now, before we dive into that subject, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Like, comment with your thoughts, and share with your friends. That way, you and your friends can keep getting these important Second Amendment related updates. And before we actually dive into the substance of this matter, I want to take a moment just to note that we are using a new microphone today. A bunch of you have commented and complained about our sound quality, so let me know what you think. Hopefully this works a little bit better and that you can all hear and understand exactly what I'm saying. All right, so what has Virginia done? We are going to read the text of the assault weapons ban bill as currently written, and then we're going to talk about how that would affect gun owners. And I do want to point out at the outset, this has passed the House. The Senate's no better than the House in Virginia, both Democrat-controlled. Of course, the governor is Republican. With the governor being Republican, I think that there is a large question. In fact, there's a high likelihood that he will veto this bill. Can't guarantee that. We don't know that for certain, but I'm very hopeful that this bill will be vetoed. So hopefully we will not have to actually deal with that. But that being said, let's talk through about what it does, because if it doesn't get vetoed, I want you as Virginians to understand the risks that are coming up. Here's what the bill says. Here's how they define an assault weapon. And keep in mind, assault weapon, not a term that I generally like because assault is an action, but this is the way Virginia lawmakers are defining it. Here we go. An assault firearm means a semi-automatic centerfire rifle or pistol that expels single or multiple projectiles by action of an explosion of a combustible material with a fixed magazine capacity in excess of 10 rounds. 2. A semi-automatic centerfire rifle that expels single or multiple projectiles by action of an explosive, a combustible material that has the ability to accept a detachable magazine and has any one of the following characteristics. 1. A folding, telescoping, or collapsible stock. 2. A pistol grip that protrudes conspicuously beneath the action of the rifle. 3. A secondary hand grip or a protruding grip that can be held by the non-trigger hand. 4. A grenade launcher. 5. A flare launcher. 6. A sound suppressor. 7. A flash suppressor. 8. A muzzle brake. 9. A muzzle compensator. 10. A threaded barrel capable of accepting A. A sound suppressor. B. A flash suppressor. C. A muzzle brake. Or D. A muzzle compensator. Or any characteristic of like kind as enumerated in clauses 1 through 10. 3. A semi-automatic centerfire pistol that expels single or multiple projectiles by action of an explosive of a combustible material that has the ability to accept a detachable magazine and has one of the following characteristics. 1. A folding, telescoping, or collapsible stock. 2. A second hand grip or a protruding grip that can be held by the non-trigger hand. 3. The capacity to accept a magazine that attaches to the pistol outside of the pistol grip. 4. A shroud that is attached to, or partially or completely encircles the barrel and that permits the shooter to hold the pistol with a non-trigger hand without being burned. 5. A threaded barrel capable of accepting a sound suppressor, a flash suppressor, a barrel extender, or a forward hand grip, or any characteristics of like kind as enumerated in clauses 1 through 5. 4. A semi-automatic shotgun that expels single or multiple projectiles by action of an explosion of a combustible material that has one of the following characteristics. 1. A folding, telescoping, or collapsible stock. 2. A pistol grip that protrudes conspicuously beneath the action of the shotgun. 3. The ability to accept a detachable magazine. 4. A fixed magazine capacity in excess of 7 rounds. 5. Any characteristic of like kind as enumerated in clauses 1 through 4. Or number 5. A shotgun with a magazine that will hold more than 7 rounds of the shortest ammunition for which it is chambered. An assault firearm does not include any firearm that is an antique firearm, has been rendered permanently inoperable, is manually operated by a bolt, pump, lever, or slide action, or was manufactured before July 1st, 2024. Now, I think the big thing that they are giving people is the ability to possess weapons that they currently have. Because if you already have something that would become an assault weapon if this bill becomes law, as long as you possessed it before 2024, you're able to keep it. So that's what they think that they're giving you. That's the bone that they're giving you. And perhaps that's what they're doing to hope that Governor Youngkin actually signs this bill. Now, after this law goes into effect, although you will be able, if it were to go into effect, although you would be able to keep those weapons that you currently have, you would not be able to sell them or transfer them or otherwise dispose of them. You are able to keep them. So a couple of things that I want to point out. It would become a crime if this law went into effect to transfer a firearm that you currently owned in Virginia. And that's concerning because lots of people want to, say, transfer firearms or pass firearms on down to their relatives. Not entirely clear whether that would be lawful to even pass a firearm on as this bill is currently written. Second major thing that I want to draw your attention to, because I find this just really concerning, I find it a little bit disgusting on a constitutional level, is the concept that, once again, the law is separating two classifications of people. Because law enforcement officers who have these weapons in the line of duty are able to possess these weapons, but you as civilians are not able to have them if this law goes into effect. And really, I think when we talk about the purpose of the Constitution, the whole concept behind the Second Amendment is that civilians, you and I, are on an equal footing with the average infantry soldier. Back in the day when the Constitution was written, when the Founding Fathers, many of them Virginians, by the way, thought about, debated, talked through whether a Bill of Rights was necessary, one of the things that they were interested in was making sure that they preserved the ability of law-abiding Americans to be on equal footing with their own government, because this is the last and most effective check and balance against tyranny. You might be aware the Founding Fathers were huge on checks and balances of power. This is the ultimate check and balance on power, for you to have weapons that are at least similar to what an infantry soldier would have. Now, I know, I'm with you, there's going to be some differences here, and I don't think that's right, but we don't want to make it worse, we want to make it better. What Virginia lawmakers are proposing is to make it worse, to up that disparity between what you would be able to possess and what the average law enforcement officer or soldier would be able to possess. Secondly, I think huge constitutional issue with drawing a distinction between July 1st, 2024 and post-July 1st, 2024. What do you mean? These weapons, there's no historical basis to have a bright line, hey, you can have a weapon if it was made before this date, not if it was made after this date. So I think that alone might be a reason this law could be struck down if it were passed. And finally, I want to point out that some of the people that are voting for these laws have been reported. There's a news report, you can get online and Google it. Cree Deeds, for example, a Democrat who voted in favor of these laws, said he's not convinced that you need assault weapons to defend yourself because a shotgun is noisier and more effective and easier to control. Now, statements like that beg the question, at least that's what it is reported that he said. Statements like that beg the question of, number one, whether he has ever fired any of the weapons that he's calling, quote, an assault weapon. Number two, whether he understands the damage that a shotgun could actually do to somebody. Number three, whether he even realizes that the bill that they've passed bans certain shotguns. And number four, whether he understands that the things that he is attempting to ban here in Virginia, many of them are to assist with the control of a weapon. For example, a secondary grip on a firearm. That's not to make it less controllable, that's to make it more controllable. So if what he is looking for is control of a weapon, because that's what he's saying, he's not convinced that these, quote, assault weapons are more controllable than that a shotgun is more controllable than these assault weapons, and so therefore he needs to get rid of assault weapons. Well, what he's actually doing is he's banning features that make these weapons controllable. So it's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. Here's what I want you to do right now based on this. I want you to keep your eyes peeled to vcdl.org. Because Virginia Citizens Defense League has been at the forefront of defending gun rights in Virginia, and at some point they are likely to promote a write-in campaign to Governor Youngkin urging him that when these bills hit his desk, he should veto them. So pay attention to that. I want you to be able to participate in that write-in campaign. If you enjoyed this content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Until next time.